number one son.
Office of the Law Revision Council, United States Code, houses the definition of security fraud laws in Title 18, Section 1348, under Chapter 63, Mail Fraud and Other Fraud Offenses. Section 1348 discusses securities and commodities fraud. Section 1348, Securities and Commodities Fraud. Whoever knowingly executes or attempts to execute a scheme or artifice, 1. To defraud any person in connection with any commodity for future delivery or any option on a commodity for future delivery or any security of an issuer with a class of securities registered under Section 12 of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, 15 U.S.C. 78I, or that is required to file under Section 15D of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, 15 U.S.C. 78O-D, or 2. To obtain by means of false or fraudulent pretenses, representations, or promises any money or property in connection with the purchase or sale of any commodity for future delivery, or any option on a commodity for future delivery, or any security of an issuer with a class of securities registered under Section 12 of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, 15 U.S.C. 78I, or that is required to file reports under Section 15D of the Securities Exchange Act of 1934, 15 U.S.C. 78O-D, shall be fined under this title or imprisoned not more than 25 years or both. Find Law's website states, generally securities fraud occurs when someone makes a false statement about a company or the value of its stock, and others makes financial decisions based on the false information. In cases of insider trading, insiders, i.e. executives, board members, etc., buy or sell stocks based on information that isn't available to the public. Although the crime itself isn't complicated, securities fraud can be particularly difficult to grasp if you lack an understanding of securities regulation. Below, you'll find information on common forms of securities fraud and how to protect your assets. Securities fraud by the company itself. The first type of securities fraud occurs when an officer or director of a corporation doesn't accurately report the company's financial information to its shareholders. This can artificially raise the worth of the company's stock and encourage investors to buy shares of an unhealthy company. If the company subsequently goes bankrupt, the people who bought shares based on false information lose their investment completely. One famous example of this type of securities fraud was the Enron scandal, in which corporate officers failed to report the company's expenses, causing profits to appear larger than they were in reality. Under the heading Securities Fraud Awareness and Prevention Tips, the FBI says, Securities Fraud, a basic overview. The nation's economy is increasingly dependent on the success and integrity of the securities and commodities market. As a result, the FBI diligently investigates criminal activity in the markets and against investors whenever it arises. Definitions. The term securities fraud covers a wide range of illegal activities, all of which involve the deception of investors or the manipulation of financial markets. As an example, high-yield investment fraud, Ponzi schemes, pyramid schemes, advanced fee schemes, foreign currency fraud, broker embezzlement, hedge fund-related fraud, late-day trading. Under a subsection, report scams when they occur. Don't be embarrassed. File a complaint with the Securities and Exchange Commission, state securities regulator, or a law enforcement agency. Report the crime promptly. You'll have a better chance of getting your money back if you do.
Whenever I have the chance to view anything on the internet, I go right to Fartaculacticus on YouTube. He reminds me of a lot of the things I've done, especially this video. What?